Hello, everybody. I am here for Thursday's class. Today's class is called Use It Up, and I am featuring the Country Floral Lane Suite Collection. It includes a stamp set, a punch, paper, ribbon, and even some sequins. So, let's see. Lori, glad you're here. And that you are my first person on, and there's two, and that means we're going to officially begin with good Thursday morning and welcome to stamp class. As I mentioned earlier, today's class is called Use It Up, and we're featuring the Country Floral Lane Suite Collection. So let me see here. Who else is here besides Lori? Do say hello. Pop in and give me a hello so that I know who's here. And feel free to comment and chat along. Let me know if you're stamping or just watching and getting some ideas. If you are stamping along, I forgot to put blending brushes on the list of supplies. And you know you're gonna need those because this Country Floral Lane, I know you're seeing this backwards, but this is a distinctive style stamp set. And so we've been working on distinctive stamps and how to work with them with the best results is what I'm trying to say. So you need those blending brushes to help kind of really ink those images up properly to get a great result. Okay, so blending brushes you're gonna need. And if you do have a Use It Up kit, you're also gonna need, pull a piece of white paper so that you have a little bit of extra to kind of play around with some things. Also, what I didn't put on the list is I decided right at the last minute here, and that's why I was a minute late, is that we're gonna make a pattern. So grab yourself an extra piece of cardstock, any color, it doesn't matter. This piece is actually 2 inches by 9. So grab yourself one extra piece of paper, 2 inches by 9, for a pattern that we're gonna make in a little bit here. So, okay, I see my mom is on, and I see Karen is on, and Lori, I don't know who that fourth person is. It's not showing, but do say hello. Give me comments. Marcia, okay, there she is. Marcia is on. Like I say hello, ask questions, give ideas. I'm all up for it. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and we're gonna begin. And here comes the hand, you know, the drill. One of these days, we're gonna figure out how to do it without all of that, right? Okay, so today's class we know is Use It Up, but let's see what's coming up. All right, tomorrow is the very last day to register for Studio Ink Spots. This is my stamp camp. It starts next Friday night, will be our game night, and we have our first presentation. But all next week, I'm gonna open up the Facebook group earlier than I did, a week earlier than I normally would. And that way we'll do some mystery stamping, some sketch stamping, some color inspiration stamping. So we'll have some fun during the week. So let me just show you the focus of the camp is the Sentimental Park bundle. And there's so many cool things with this, and the dies are fabulous. Look it up in the January to April mini catalog, and I think you'll find there's something special there. We're gonna work with the entire collection, with the paper, the textured paper, the ribbon, the dots, all kinds of things. We're gonna really deep dive into that Sentimental Park bundle. Let me give you just a sneak peek. I did show this one earlier. Let me fluff the bow. That's what my mom used to say when she'd pack the presents. She'd say, fluff the bows, so that then you could put them under the Christmas tree. So we've got to fluff the bow here. Anyhow, this is one of the cards, and this is one of the cards from our Fancy Folds class, AKA Puffy cards is what we're gonna call them. But this is a really pretty card featuring the bundle, and it opens up to a nice, lovely double accordion. So we're gonna learn that. We've done this fold, it's been several years since we've done this double accordion fold, but that is coming up in the camp. You're gonna wanna be there for that. Let's see, also coming up after camp, we will be upstyling our Sunshine and Smiles paper pumpkin. That'll be fun. Also, after that, Use It Up we're gonna feature Taco Fiesta. I'm super excited for this. Yeah, look, I do have a card I will post later on of Taco Fiesta. If you sign up for Studio Ink Spots, if you sign up for option 1 or option 2, you are going to get a Use It Up kit in you're going to get an extra little bonus gift in there. So you'll have that class. March also will feature the Delicate Desert Sweet Collection. Ooh, so pretty. We're going to make some really kind of, even though this is kind of a desert feel, we're going to make some very romantic but desert styled cards. It's going to be really a pretty class. I'm looking forward to that. And I've also mentioned in April, we'll feature the Sweet Citrus Bundle. Okay, so kind of what's coming up in there. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for pickup time in March, but maybe you guys have a suggestion. I would be happy to take suggestions. That would be fun, I think. Okay, so today, Country Bouquet and the Country Bouquet Punch. Now, this is on back order. But like I said earlier, you can use scissors to cut out your images, or maybe you're working with a completely different stamp set that has a different punch or dies that match it. That's perfectly great. I do know that they said, Stampin' Up! Has listed that this is supposed to, it's supposed to be back in stock April 17th. That's the estimated date. So this is coming back around. So don't worry, it is a great punch. It's a great basic punch to add to things, and I'm going to show you all kinds of things with it today. So speaking of showing you today, I thought I would kind of do a few riffs on some cards that you may have seen. So I've cased myself in many ways here. So the first case we're going to do, this card I posted a couple weeks ago. I posted it in, it was for hand stamped sentiments, and it's a gatefold card. Okay, so I didn't stamp the inside, but anyhow, you get the idea. But I have used here, this is the bundle itself, along with the Stylish Shapes dies. So we're gonna do a riff on this card right here. And so the first thing you're gonna need, let's see, where's my kit? Here's my kit. You need your kit. If not, if you don't have this little packet, you can get this packet for free when you have a purchase in the online store. We're going to use the Balmy Blue. So this is a half sheet of Balmy Blue for those who are cutting their own. So a half sheet of Balmy Blue for our first card here. And let's see, also in the pack, I have, there's several pieces of things here. We have this piece, grab that one. And let's see, let's also grab, this is a cute one. And where did I put my original here? That, and we're gonna use some white paper. Okay, so just have some white paper on hand. And so I have just some basic white here. So just, we're gonna stamp on this so we punching and doing a lot of things. The other thing that I'm gonna find very useful, and that is if you have like extra narrow strips left over from cutting things down, this works great in the punch, and I'll show you how in just a little bit. So we're gonna kind of have some extra things here. So the first thing we're going to do is this piece of designer series paper, super cute on this side. I wanted you guys to see that. And this back side has some really cool hearts on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut one of those out. We're gonna need one of these, and I'm just gonna fussy cut it. It's a quick little fussy cut here. The punch doesn't necessarily match this. Okay, so now I'm just gonna kind of do a rough chop to get myself in and around easier. Okay, just coming up and around. Okay, kind of come in here. So this card, we have some fussy cut elements on this card for sure. Okay, we won't have any other fussy cutting except for this card. And so far, that's a pretty easy fussy cut, I would say. All righty. And we're gonna save that. And then this piece here, pick a bicycle. It doesn't matter. We're going to pick one of those bicycles to cut out. I think I'm going to cut out this pink one. Since my card base is blue, I'll save that blue one for something else. So just kind of rough chop this out for now so that you can easily, you know, more easily maneuver to cut that out. Also, we're going to use this strip down here. So grab your trimmer. Let's see what we're going to do here. Just trim this right off. Okay. So I'm going to include that row of blue hearts. And we're going to trim this down to be 4 1/4 inches wide. But what I want to do is, rather than just kind of going 4 1/4 and chopping it off, I want the pieces to be whole. So, I mean, these little, you know, so I'm going to cut this one off. Okay, so just kind of chop that end off. That way now I have that full little bouquet showing. And let's stretch this to 4 1/4. That's going to be the width. And just like that, now I have all of them are whole. I mean, whole little bouquets. They're not cut in half, if you know what I mean. So that will be for our card as well. And I think what we should do before we go any further is let's actually work on our background here so that we'll have time to dry. We're going to do one of my favorites, and that is, the first thing we're going to do is take our Balmy Blue Stamp and Blend, or you could use your Balmy Blue ink pad and a water painter, right? But I'm going to use my Balmy Blue Stamp and Blend, and I'm just going to splatter a whole bunch on my card base here. Really get it nice and full. And I'm even going to turn it, because see how my splatters are all kind of one direction? We're going to reverse the direction of our splatters so we really get a nice good layering in there of them. Okay. And I'm not really focusing. If it gets on the back side of the card, that's okay, but I'm not really hitting all of those areas. Next, I am going to squeeze my craft ink pad. You know I like doing this, folks, because I like the finished look. Take your water painter, and I think I have a water painter in here. Yeah, that one has white in it already, so I'm gonna use this one. And so I do have a little bit of water going, but I don't want so much that the ink splatters are totally diluted. We want white ink. See, that's white ink. That's not right there. So you're looking for white ink splatters. Not so much just water, if you know what I mean. And again, I'm gonna turn. Okay. Get more ink than water. So if you have to squeeze your lid again, go for it. Okay, that way. The other really great thing to do is just to do this direct with your ink refill. That's good, and you know, you get a nice vibrant white. So do you guys ever like making your own little splatter papers? Am I the only one? Bueller? Okay, that's enough of that. And now I am going to take Wink of Stella and really just get her going. And we'll set this aside to dry while we work on some other things. Okay. Close that pad. Okay, so next things, we do have our background, which needs to dry. We have our strip. I'm gonna actually have it go that way. It seems more upright there. We have our cutout heart. You are going to need to cut out the bicycle, but I've done that ahead of time just because you don't want to sit here and see me fussy cut. Okay, so there's my bike. So be sure to cut yours out. And now let's do some stamping. So we definitely have to have some stamping going here. I'm just trying to clean up all my junk here. So for stamping, this is what we're gonna do. We are going to use a couple different images. To me, these are the two key images in the stamp set, and that is this one here, that matches the punch, as well as the leaves that match the punch. So the first thing I'm gonna do, let's do the leaves first, because I mentioned I like using these, I have a lot of these scraps from when I'm cutting kits for class. So what I'm gonna do is ink this one up. I have mint macaron here, and we're gonna ink up the image. You don't have to do it on its back like this, but it was just kind of on its back already, so I thought, well, we'll just kind of go with it. And I'm just gonna pat it with my green blend. We learned that about our distinctive style stamped images. That way, when you blot that off, you start to get all of those little, the little details. So it's not a solid image stamp. You're getting all those little fine lines and things. So this is why I like to use a strip, is so I'm not wasting as much paper when I'm doing the leaves. So we have a couple leaves there. We're just gonna need 2 for now. We'll be stamping lots more of them, and we'll stamp it just like that, using the strip of paper like that. Now, with your larger piece, let's do the hearts. And so the hearts for this card, I'm gonna ink these up in a couple colors. And that is, I'm gonna start with a little bit of petal, excuse the dogs, petal pink, and we'll layer in a little bit of sweet sorbet. So grab you're gonna need a blending brush for petal pink, and I would have a separate blending brush for sweet sorbet, just because this is so much darker, okay? So I'm just gonna kind of blot some of my ink off of my petal, my light pink brush, just to make sure that it's not gonna totally take away all of the color and make it too dark. I do want some petal pink showing through. So I've pounced a little bit of petal pink on there. I'm gonna tap the whole thing because I can see the little ink bubbles on there. And that's what we don't want. We want to offload that ink a little bit. And now I'm gonna add a little bit, excuse me, frog in my throat all of a sudden. I'm gonna add a little bit of sweet sorbet and just kind of pat that on. Need the dogs to shut up. Okay, so we've just patted on a little bit of that. And now I'm going to stamp that right down on the corner of my paper there. And we're gonna do this one more time, because we need 2 hearts. I want 2 of these. Okay, so we'll get some petal pink in there. Tap it with your blending brush. The other thing you could do is ever so slightly stamp off. And now I might go a little stronger with my red this time, just so that I have some variation in the hearts. Okay, and we'll stamp that right alongside it. Okay, ooh, look at that one. That, to me, that's super, super pretty. That's what I'm looking for. I like that kind of look. All right, moving right along. Let's go back to that strip we were using. And we're going to stamp the little heart again, but we're going to stamp it in blue to kind of go with our card base. So I'm going to give my stamp a little cleanup here. You take these ink pads out of the way. Bring in, here's a little balmy blue. Okay, so I'm going to pat that. And I don't have a blending brush out for it, so I'm just gonna kind of stamp it off. I'm just kind of gently adding ink. I just don't want it over, oh good. So even being just a little bit more, you know, just don't be as, you know, don't ink as heavily handed. That's another way you can do it. So I'm just gently tapping and pop that into your strip. Okay, so the reason I did the little hearts in the strip like this is, one, they have to be upside down. Should have done it on the other end of the paper. But we're gonna pop that in there. And now you can see I'm just not wasting nearly as much paper. So there's my first blue heart. And then a second one here. Great. Okay, so now we can go back to our big piece here, and then let's cut these 4 out. I just about dropped my paper in that, so I'm gonna get that out of the way. Okay, I just barely gave myself enough room. So I'm gonna save that and that. I should have given myself just a little bit more room, but it looks like we just barely eked it in there. I just think that's great. Super pretty. Easy to work with. Okay, very easy punch to align and work with. I like it a lot. Okay, now it seems I have most of my elements here. I have one more thing that I want to do. I'm going to bring that strip back in. And I want to share with you on one of the cards that I did earlier in the month, this one here. This is a super pretty card, and I'm going to show you more about it in a little bit here. But the stems of my heart flowers here, the images themselves, when you look at them, they're actually straight, right? But because they're photopolymer, we can actually give them just a little bit more shape. So what I'm going to do is actually do what I did on that, and that is to give myself a little bit of a curve. So just kind of curve your stamp however you want. And I'm going to ink up my greeting here. It says, I just wanted to say, I'm going to ink up with Mossy Meadow. Kind of pick up some of the Mossy Meadow that are in these, in the pieces of paper here. And let's see. I want it to have a different angle. There we go. We want this one to go up. Now I'm all inky. What else is new? Okay. It's different when you're looking, hey, get back there. When you're looking through it than when you're looking at it face down as opposed to looking at it through the block. Okay. So just having some fun with making the greeting just a little bit more whimsical by angling it and giving it a little bit more shape. And that's what I did on these, so that they would have a little bit more of an angle to them rather than being just a straight, stiff stem. Okay. Now, crazy, I have, ink everywhere. So this is going to get fussy cut out. And it's not too hard to cut out. It's actually pretty easy. It goes pretty fast. I was surprised. So go ahead and cut that out for yourself as well. So I have that. That's my last element that I needed. And it looks like we've timed it just perfectly because this is good and dry now. So I'm going to start with this. This is going to kind of be it's just going to kind of anchor all of my focal images, or my focal elements that are going to be the focal image itself. Okay, so Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to use both sizes, the full size and the minis. And yes, I am going to put dimensionals all the way across this. And I wouldn't normally do that many, but because it's designer series paper, it'll have a tendency to sag, so I'm having to add a few more than normal. That, or I could have lined this with a piece of cardstock. That would have been one idea. Okay, here we go. And be aware, so I'm looking at this, and these hearts are facing up. I mean, they could go that way too, but it's a little bit more better this way. And we're going to put that right about there. Okay, now, did I put it on straight? Okay, there's that. And next I'm going to take my 2 hearts, and they're going to come into here. Just going to kind of give you an idea of where the layout is going. We have a bike in here. And I'm going to tuck this guy under in here. Because if you remember, we have We have a card that we're casing. I should bring that back in so you can kind of see. So it's not exactly the same, but there's some similarities. And I'm not going to use these two hearts here. I'm going to use those on another project. So we'll use the two blue ones. I'm going to add a blue heart here, and I'm going to do another heart up here. And then I'll do some foliage. So there are some similarities there, but a little bit different. So that's kind of where we're headed. I'll bring in the original. You can see that. So, about that frog doesn't want to go away. I'm going to pull this down just a little bit more, but that's about what I'm looking for right there. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm holding them together. And hello, we're just going to stick them together with a dimensional. And I'll do one more dimensional on this lower one. And then I'll do a little bit of glue up here on the top because that's going to kind of cantilever onto this layer here. Okay, voila. I have a little too much glue, so I'm just going to take some of my scrap pieces and knock it down a bit so it doesn't come like oozing out. Man, I'm already super sticky. How about you guys? Okay, so this is going to kind of come right in and about here. Looks good. Now we'll do the leaves, and I'm going to put a little mini on that leaf bottom. Tuck that under. Same thing on this one. Voila. Cute. So everything's basically up on a dimensional. Since there's not, there's not a lot of layers in here. Right there. So it's like the point of this heart shoots right into the point of that heart. I'll do a big on each of these wheels. And then maybe just a touch of glue on the basket and on the flowers in back, because that will hit this layer here. Flip this over. Notice on my original I did a green bike. This one's going to be the petal pink. And I'm going to hold that up for just a second. This is the only heart that I'm not going to put a dimensional on. This is more of just kind of a layer. So we'll tuck that under that wheel. Now we can stick it down. And this heart right here. And we'll do something like that. Okay, so a couple things left to do here. And that is, let's do a little baker's twine and some gems. Let me talk about these gems. I love this pack of gems. These are the pastel adhesive backed sequins. These are part of this floral lane suite. But here's the best thing about them. You have the pink, the blue, and the gold, but you have a sheet of small and a sheet of large. And I think I wish they had them like that on all of them. Okay, so let's add some gems. I just noticed we haven't attached that down just yet, but we will, not to worry. But I'm gonna add 5 gems here. So I'm gonna do 1, a large, and a small. And I'll do another small, kind of tucked down here in this little area, and kind of separate this out so you can see a little better. And we'll do a large here, and a small, stuck to my finger. Just kind of spread them out here just a little bit. Maybe I'll raise this one. It's stuck. We're gonna keep it there. All right, so now for this here, I did use dimensionals on this, but I used minis, and I was just looking for where they would fit, and they just barely fit in a couple of those little sections. depending on how close you cut. So that, and now our greeting goes here. And now what's fun is you could, then on the inside, depending on what you want to put on the inside, you could say Happy Valentine's Day. Or you could, I mean, there's all kinds of things you could put on the inside with just wanted to say. So it could be a Valentine's, or you could take it in another direction. But let's do something with this bow. So that's a linen thread bow. But today I'm using this is the Baker's Twine Essentials Pack. And we're gonna use this pack for our projects today. And for this one, I'm gonna use the white. And I'm gonna get enough that would be for a bow. I'm gonna clip it. And I'm going to grab my balmy blue that we splattered with. I'm gonna grab my balmy blue pen. I'm going to use this as some scratch paper here. Let me get this out of the way. And I am going to make myself some balmy blue twine. Okay? So just kind of hold that in there. Kind of pull it through. You might have to pick it up and move it. Come on. But go ahead. And if it ends up being slightly variegated, I think that's kind of cool. So don't worry about getting every edge and every side, but do the entire length. And then what I like to do is take my paper, because this is, you know, you've put a lot of ink in there, is I run my paper, my baker's twine through my paper like that. Now I can give it a tie. Oops, pretty uneven. So let me try that again. Okay, that's better. Not much, but a little better. I feel like I'd like a bigger piece, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. Okay, I'm gonna trim my ends. And we'll take a glue dot. Let me shorten that side just a little bit. Grab yourself a glue dot. These are glue dots from the Paper Pumpkin kits. You can also buy them on the roll, the mini glue dots. Oops, it didn't stay. Probably because it's still a little bit wet. There we go. And now we're going to take this and just tuck this under our hearts. We're just going to add a little bit of ribbon work right in there. Like that. There you have it. We have our first Country Floral Bouquet card done. So you can do it with the linen thread, which I love the classic look of linen thread, but I'm also really kind of loving this Essentials pack too, because it can be colored and you can do so many things with it. All right, so there's our first one. Let me put my Essential pack back just so I know where it is. And we are going to do our second card is going to be inspired by, so this one that I showed you, we're going to do a simplified version of this in a completely different color palette. And where did the card go? Oh, here it is. It's under my kit. So here is the version we're going to do today. So similar, but a little bit different. So this one opens, and this is an extra fancy fold. Okay. So, and we've done this before. We did this back for the Fond of Autumn class. We did this fancy fold. But we're going to do a variation on it, a simplified version of a gatefold with the belly band. And so this one here, here's our belly band. We'll make that. Here's our card base. We'll make that. And then you open it up and we have a fun inside greeting in there. Okay? So here's what we're going to need for this project. We're going to need, in your packet, You're gonna need your Flirty Flamingo card base. And so this is 5.5 by 8.5. And I've scored it for a gatefold at 2 1/8 and 6 3/8. So we will review that, not to worry. And then this is the piece of designer series paper that you're going to want. It's blue hearts on the back. So we're gonna use that one right there. You'll also need to grab, this is some of the red ribbon that's in the, that's part of the Country Floral Lane. It's in a ribbon combo pack. And I didn't have any more of that ribbon, and then you also have in here a few things we're going to use. We're going to use these 3 pieces here. So these are cut from Stylish Shapes. So you have a Sahara Sand circle, a Sahara Sand banner, and and another smaller white circle. You also have, whoops, I didn't grab it out of here. You do have a belly band in here, and it is Sahara Sand. Whoops. Kind of caught on another piece of paper. So here is the belly band that you have in your packet there. So that's what we're going to use. So let's start, and let's let's anchor this down so that we have that cut and out of the way and glued, and we won't need the trimmer again. So let's trim this piece of paper down to 5.5. Okay, and its width that I gave you is 3 1/4. Okay, so basically I was using up and divvying up everything that I had left. So we're gonna, half of 3 1/4 is 1 5/8. Okay, so let's just chop that right down the middle. So it could be 1.5 by 5.5. I just happen to be using what we had. Now I'm holding it where it was so that I can open it up and have it still, I know there's a big old gap, but I kind of like to keep them oriented the same direction. Okay. So we'll just glue this one on. Right on the edge. So it gives that illusion of that fancy fold that we did. So this is just kind of scaling it back a little bit. You know what, in your Use It Up kit, you also have a piece of, you have a 1/4 sheet of white. You're gonna need that for the inside. Okay, let me grab my 1/4 sheet of white. There it is. Okay. Now, let's have some fun stamping and decorating and doing all that kind of good stuff. So this is for the inside, and it's going to glue right inside here, but you'll notice when you go to shut this, it's not going to shut. Okay, and that's because it's the exact same width. So we have to just shave the edge of our paper off just a little bit. So I usually take the... So here's the groove, and then this, you know, you've got brown to each side. I just do that. That to me is the sliver. That seems to be the magic amount that needs to be taken off. What is this? It's not 1/8. It's less than 1/8. And then I'm going to test it to see if it does fit in there. Aha, nice. It fits in there perfectly. So the first thing we're going to do with this is let's do just a little bit of... hold on just a second. I think they shut the door and locked the dog in the laundry room. What you barking at? Sorry. Poor thing. Okay, Flirty Flamingo. And I'm doing Flirty Flamingo because that's our card base color. And I'm going to do just a little bit of ink blending here to base, you saw that there, to base our greeting, okay? So knock some of that off and just do a light, hazy, Flirty Flamingo layer in here. So it's very subtle, and I have a few marks there, but that's okay. It'll get hidden by my banner. But just kind of romantic. And it gives that layer somewhere to go rather than just kind of being stuck there. So also anchoring that, speaking of somewhere to go, let's add some leaves. And so there is, let me take this image off for just right now. So this leaf image here, there's a couple of them. I really like this one. So let me hold my paper upright. And I'm gonna bring my label in here so I kind of know where I'm going to have these leaves land. So I'm pulling in mint macaron. Okay, I have a different dog stuck behind a different door. Hold on. Sorry. Come on, she's a knee. Sorry about that. But she'd have yiked the whole time if I didn't go let her out. So now I know, and I'm just gonna kind of hold my fingernail right there. So here goes my leaf. And I'm gonna tuck the stem so it's gonna fall behind that label. And then we'll do another one right there. Put my label back, that's where it's gonna go. And I'm gonna hold my finger here again for the opposite side. Like that. And then just stamp again a second. Then for our greeting, we'll stamp our greeting in Sweet Sorbet. Here's my Sweet Sorbet ink pad. And the greeting, I like this one. It says, I love that we're friends, because that could be for just about anything. And so I use, you know me, I have multiple images on one block, but I think I'll pull this off so that I can see the greeting. Get it good and inked up, but not overly juiced up, if you know what I mean. And we'll just stamp that right in the center there. Like so. Perfect. And we'll add that with a couple dimensionals. 1, 2. Now the inside just needs to be added to the card base. Okay, that's looking good. Put a little glue on the back and then we'll add it in. I guess why I like to do the inside first with you guys is because then that way we don't stamp the wrong thing, the wrong piece. So if you're ever wondering why I always go to the inside first, that's probably a good reason why. That way you're not going, oh man, I used the wrong piece. So there we close nicely. Awesome. So the inside is ready. And I actually have just a little bit more stamping on here that I want to do. Just a little bit. While we have that red ink pad out. I love this little image here. It's the Duo of Hearts. This is the open line, not the solid version. We're going to use the open line on this one. And we're just going to do a little heart action there. And we'll do a little bit more right there. Cute. Now I swear I'm done with the inside. There's the inside. Let's work on the belly band for it. So we have a bunch of stamping to do. I'm going to mount this one back on the block because we're going to use that. And let's grab the piece of white paper that we were stamping hearts on. We're going to do that again. So I'll stamp over here. And this is Sweet Sorbet ink. Let me just kind of turn this way. And I'm just gonna squish that right in there. And we need 2 of these. So I'll do another one right there. That should be good. And I'm gonna punch these out just because the punch has the leaves and other pieces. I just wanna make sure that I don't stamp somewhere that I can't punch it out, if that makes sense. Okay, so there's one of them. Here goes the second one. Voila. Now we're going to switch stamps and we're going to keep the Sweet Sorbet out. We're going to bring out Flirty Flamingo again. And we'll take the, what I say is the star of the show, and that's this image right here. And we'll ink that up in Flirty Flamingo. And we'll tap it with the brush, just as we did with our first project. Although we used petal pink on the first project, but I'm pouncing that one. And now I'm gonna add some sweet sorbet. And this sweet sorbet and flirty flamingo, it actually ends up looking kind of like rainbow sherbet. You don't see as much a difference between the flamingo and the sweet sorbet as you did with the petal and sweet sorbet. So I've inked those up and I'll stamp those there. And I'm gonna punch these out because if you remember last time I got a little close and it barely made it. So I'll punch them so I know exactly how much room I have for the next one. Hello. There we go. So there's one of our heart. And these are kind of, I'm calling these like heart flowers. There's another heart. So let's do that same thing again. Only this time I might want to vary up the intensity of the color. So maybe I'll use quite a bit more of the sweet sorbet this time. Just go a little more heavy-handed with that color. So there's the flirty. And I'm doing that just so that I have variation in my, you know, the elements on the page aren't exactly identical. I'm kind of not worrying about that one down below because I'm not going to really be using that one. We're going to stamp them again, but in green. Okay, stamp this. We know we can put it right there. Pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I mean, look at that. I just really, really like the way that turns out. And that looks a lot. Let's compare it with the image on the box. Of course, let's go like this. And so, yes, this is a little smaller here, but you can see that light, and that's exactly what we're going for. It's not a solid image. It's a distinctive stamp. So you just want to make sure you're getting all those details. Okay, we'll save that, that. Okay, so now let's do new colors. This time, we're going to use Mint Macaron and Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to be stamping the, we're gonna use this image again, only this time I'm basically just gonna work the small heart. You guys are a quiet bunch today. Any questions? Let me ask you, have you, do you have any distinctive style stamps and have you been trying this blending brush method? So that was Mint Macaron. Here comes a little Mossy Meadow. I'm just gonna kind of tap this, pat it just a little bit. I'm just adding a little bit of mossy because I do want some of it to be, I want some of it to be that mint. Okay, so what I am going to do though is stamp my heart on the strip because we only need a strip, you know, we don't need the whole punch. Okay, let's do that again. Let me just kind of stamp my thing off. Now this time, I think I want more mint to show. So I don't think I'm gonna add any Mossy Meadow this time. There's that heart. And now we're gonna do the same thing. We need a couple sets of leaves here. So we're gonna start with mint. I'm gonna pat it, and then we'll add a little bit of Mossy Meadow to just make them a little bit more interesting. Zhuzh them up a bit. Okay, whoops, lost my blending brush on the floor. Sorry about that. Let me give this a clean because there's quite a bit of Mossy Meadow on there that I don't want going into my mint pad. Okay, there's mint. And I'm just gonna pat, I'm not gonna add any more Mossy Meadow this time. There's enough on the brush. Okay, there you have it. Now we'll punch all of this stuff out. All right. So here's my heart. Yep, you gotta do the heart. The little guy goes upside down. That. Now we'll give these a reverse. Swing your paper around so that you can get this. So every time I punch this, this now seems like a nose and eyes. It almost seems like a safari animal to me. Does anybody else see stuff like that? Nicole says, I do, and using the brush has helped immensely. Oh, good. I am so glad to hear that. I was having trouble getting them to stamp nicely. Good. I'm glad that that made a difference. Okay, there's that other set of leaves I'm looking for. And this I'm going to kind of take out of the way so it doesn't get confusing. Okay, so those are the stamped pieces we're going to need so far. We have this little piece right here. Now you could put just about anything you want on this that will fit. So for you, if you'll notice in my original belly band, I used for you and kept it pretty simple. With love would fit, and maybe let's try something. Let's do something a little bit different. I'm gonna, let's see. I'm gonna use this block. I'm gonna take this stamp off and this stamp. We're gonna use with love, but I'm gonna do it in 2 inking ups because it fits, but it's a little tight. So instead, I'm gonna make sure it's clean for 1. Okay, and I'm gonna bring in Sweet Sorbet because that's the darkest color of my palette here. I typically will use the darkest palette color for my greeting. I'm going to ink up just the width. Okay, and we'll do that. And I am gonna do it off to the right still. There's the width. Now clean it. And let's do love. And we'll put that kind of right down in here. Nice. Just kind of mixing up your stamps so they're not, you don't have to use them exactly as they've had them. So that will be our greeting for that one. Now let's start to put things together. We're going to go back to that Essentials pack. And this is the crumb cake color. So the crumb cake and the Sahara sand, they match nicely in our paper. So this is Sahara sand and this is crumb cake. I just think it's kind of a fun mix there. So we've got that. And we have our belly band. Where did my belly band go? You've got to be kidding me. I mean, it's big. Where would it go? Here it is. Okay, it was standing up. I was looking for it this way and it was this way. Okay, so I've kind of started the fold for you, but you may have to kind of wiggle it around. You want to make your belly band so that it's not too tight, right? So I think I need to loosen it just a little bit. So let me get that out of the way. We're just gonna kind of bring this around. I'm just gonna kind of make a new fold there. There we go. Great, and then we'll bring this side over. But when I bring this side over, what I'm gonna do is trim some of this off because we don't need that extra, and we're gonna hide our seam behind our circle die here. So let me just give a good crease to our belly band so it cleans that up a little bit. A little glue there, a little glue here. And we'll glue that shut. And you guys, kind of make sure your belly band isn't too tight because nothing like not being able to get it on and off. Okay, there's that. Now I'm gonna take my crumb cake color. Hey, stay put. And I'm gonna wrap it around twice. Once, twice, and tie it in a knot. So nothing fancy here. I just wanted a couple, you know, rows of the twine so that had a little bit more show. And then you can kind of play with that, how you want it to be. If you want it open a little bit, like that. And that's what I did before. And I just made sure that the crisscross was under my, the circle label that we're gonna put on here. Okay, there's that. Awesome. Looking good, looking good. Now, this piece will layer in here, but before we layer that, we're going to add our red ribbon. And so, like I said, this came from the combo pack of ribbon. It's part of the suite. Let's see here. I have some of this one here. Here you can see that's that, I guess they call it natural. Can I tell you guys, this stuff stamps beautifully. I didn't do it anywhere, but it does stamp rather nicely. Okay, we are going to just do kind of a Zorro's swishback, whatever you want to call this kind of thing. So I'm going to hold it in place, and I think I'm going to shorten that and elongate that just a little bit. And now with my tear-in tape, I'm just going to tape that in place. I'm not going to peel the back because no one's ever going to see it, but I just have enough here. Well, let's see if I can tear it. There we go. I just have enough here that I can just swoosh right over like that. Keeping it simple, right? And yet I can still kind of maneuver things. I can still pull things and get them the way I want. And I like the way that's looking. So I'm gonna come in and give these just a nice clean up my edges so that they're not frayed or kind of crooked or straight. Now I can add my, my circle here to my entire belly band, and we'll do that with dimensionals. But you want to make sure that you're only doing dimensionals on the belly band portion. You don't want them hanging off and then sticking. So instead of putting them on the back of my circle, I'm going to put them on the front of the band. That way I know it's going to stick to the circle, but I know it's not going to overhang and be sticking out in the wrong places. Okay. Now, kind of, and I'm going to have my ribbon so that it kind of hits up at like 2 o'clock and down here at 10. And we'll just eyeball that and squish it on. Good. And then I'll slide that up just a little bit. So there is the base for this. Now we just need to make our flowers and put everything together. And I am considering these flowers kind of like from our, this is the inspiration, this piece here. And so yes, these were flowers. I kind of liked that I used the small flower in green to maybe look like the, you know, the end of the stem. So we'll start by taking one of the hearts and one of the other hearts. And so these are the kind of the petals of this flower here. And I'm going to put a dimensional. So my dimensional is also going to be my glue to hold them together. Nice. So there's one. Let's do the same thing with the other two, if I can find them. How do I lose my pieces? It's like, where did it go? I've lost a heart. I have no heart. For real, you guys, every time. You know where it goes sometimes is the back of my cutter. Well, there's a leaf. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna have to, oh, there, nope, I was gonna say, there it is. Nope, there it's not. Shoot, Queen. Well, it's a good thing we have more paper. Do you guys do that? All the time. Okay, let's bring in a little flirty flamingo. Quick to order here, flirty. We'll tap it and we'll hit it with a little bit of red. And we'll just stamp that right there and punch it out. There you have it. Okay. Oh, you know what? I just found my heart. Right as I got that one, it was stuck to an ink pad. Okay. Oh, I like this one better. Okay, so these two, we'll hold them together. Now, I just want to kind of point something out, is I don't want them to be exactly the same. So this one's kind of back here like this. I'm going to change the angle and kind of move, you know, switch it up a little bit. Make it a little bit more interesting. But again, I'm going to hold those together. Okay, peel these. We'll add them to our belly band here. Let me bring this down just a little bit. So I'm going to kind of do them this way. And just kind of work these to where you like them balanced on your paper here. And I might need to go a little bit higher. Nah, I'm okay. I'm going to put this piece on. That way I know exactly where I'm putting other leaves and things. And so this one, I'm just going to kind of work it right there. I'm going to hold, it's a little different than my original, but that's okay. Each one's a little different. So now the two green hearts become part of the flowers here, the bottom of the flowers. So these are going to get glued. There's that. And that, and I haven't pushed anything on super tight just in case I want to change something up a little bit. There's that. And now this leaf has a dimensional on it already. But here are my leaves, and I've on my original I've only used 3 leaves, which is fine. Let's see here. So I did a leaf here and one kind of in here, and we'll do this one. You know, and it's like, does it go up here? You know, you just kind of do something different each time. I think I'm going to go like that this time. I like that. And so with that in mind, I think I'm going to just tuck this up a little bit higher and maybe incorporate this a little different than I did on my original. But then this way, you know, maybe if I do one leaf here and, or maybe we do it low. I'm just playing with it. Or maybe I move this to here. Oh yeah, there we go. Hello. And then we do like so. Maybe turn this one up a little. Okay, maybe even. Okay, that's what I think I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna stick these on with dimensionals. Sorry for the, oh, what should I do? But you know, each one turns out a little bit different. And so you just give each one its own little attention and whatever little bit of love it needs. Okay, so there's that. Now I'll tuck this one in. Nicole says, yes, and you find it as soon, yeah, isn't that what I did? Oh, as soon as you finished the card. Yeah, well, this was, you know. Okay, so now this, if I'm doing something like this, I just want to make sure that these don't come out as like even and they don't look like ears or wings or something. So I might want to do something a little like, ooh, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Okay, we'll stick that one down. Still playing around with the arrangement, but that's okay. Okay, so just kind of do a little leaf action in there. Lovely. I like it. I like it. Now let's finish it up. I'm going to continue. Let me just close this one and put the belly band on so you can see the finishing details on this. I do have another piece of, I have another shoestring bow nestled in there to match the twine that's going around the belly band. Okay, maybe I can get it on. It's a little tight. And I have some of those pastel backed gems. So here's that same color. So I kind of want it to look like this twine is, you know, coming up and through the paper, so to say. So I'm just gonna give myself enough here to tie. And that's what I didn't on that last one. I didn't give myself a big enough piece. It was too small, if you know what I mean. Okay, there's that. Look at all the ink I have under my fingernails. Okay, not even at all. So just even those ends up, that's all I just did. Okay, so now this piece here, this bow that is out of control, come on. It has a mind of its own. Sometimes you can pull it and it will kind of cooperate, and this one just doesn't want to do it. But what I did with this one is I tucked it under there. So maybe for this one, we'll tuck in under here. Yeah. So I'm not even going to secure that one right now. You know that needs a glue dot. But I am going to bring in those pastel backed gems again. Or sequins rather, they're not gems. These are awesome. Love them, love them. So for this card, I'm going to use the pink. And so I'm going to use some of the large and some of the small for the pink. But we'll use the pink color here. So let's just do something like, maybe we'll tuck one under there. I kind of like to hide them sometimes and have them just peeking out. And we'll give this guy a buddy like that. So on this one, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see all those? So we'll just tuck a few more in here. So maybe this one will tuck under there. Cool. And we'll put one right in there. Peeking through. And we'll do one more large. And maybe we'll do it. So I didn't want to go here because then it's, well, it's not so bad. Maybe we will. We'll go like this and put that right there. Oh, Terry has popped on. Hello, Terry. Let me move this out just a little bit. Okay, there we have it. And then, of course, it needs a little bit of Winkastella. So we'll take her and just give her a good splattering. Sometimes, is this the one I had out earlier? Come on. Oh, there we go. Give it a good splatter. And then I'm even gonna kind of draw across in the direction of the lines on this heart. And then we'll do the green. Do the green after, just in case it's got a little bit of ink. Transfer into your brush. Okay, there you have it. Super pretty. I like it. Interesting how they're a little bit different, but you know, I like them both. Looking good. The fun thing is, if you have, you know, any extra hearts and flowers and leaves and things, add them to the insides. You know that. Okay, there's our second one we have completed. Now, I thought we would do something, I want to share, people have asked how this heart was made, and it's easy, although there's one little trick. So we're going to make, not this box, we're just going to make a real quick tag. Okay, so the tag we're going to make, it's going to be stamping, punching, not a whole lot. In your Use It Up kit, you have a piece of designer series paper that I want you to pull out. And it is, let's see here. It's this one right here. It's green on the back. I love this print right here. And then petal pink on this side. So these hearts here, they are dimensional. If you want a closer look at them. So they are, each heart is made up of 2 hearts, okay? So with a regular heart punch, you can just kind of fold it in half and make, you know, 2 sides, you know, punch it twice, fold it in half, and put them together. But this, because the punch is asymmetrical, you just have to be aware of what you're doing. So if you do your first punch, and I'm gonna get way over to the side here, okay? So there's my first heart. Now, if you want it to match, then what you need to do is flip your paper over and punch from the reverse side. Okay, so it's important that you do that little, flip it over and punch it from the reverse side. Now, let's take our trimmer and we're going to use the scoring blade. And I'm going to bring my scoring blade up into the middle here. And I'm going to put my heart to where the point is in the groove and then the notch is in the groove as well. And we'll just give that a simple little score line. Don't score too heavy because you don't want to cut it in half. And do the same thing. Line up your heart like that. Ta-da! And we're going to fold it in half. So there's the petal pink side is now face up. And this one here, we'll fold this one back so that the petal pink side is face up. And then I just hold them together from the back side. Talk about low tech here. And I hold them together with a dimensional. And then I put a mini on the little bump here. Like so. So that's how I made all of those fun little dimensional hearts. So let's make our tag. So in your bag, in your Use It Up kit, you have a Blushing Bride. Take this out. We're going to use it in the next project here. There's your Blushing Bride tag. Let's give it a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to do tone on tone with some Blushing Bride. I just got to clear out my space here. I've got too much going on. Here's Blushing Bride. And that leaf image that we used earlier, this one right here, let me hold it the right direction. We stamped it in mint. So this one here, I'm going to stamp it in blush. So I need to give it a little bit of a cleanup before I can. There we go. So a little bit of blush on blush. And I'm going to just kind of right off the edge of the paper here. We'll do another one, kind of like so. And I think I'm going to do one more opposite. So I've got a third one coming in here. So knowing that this heart is just going to kind of overlap, and I've just got a little bit of design, a little bit of decor. It may or it may not show. And I need my mint and my Mossy Meadow. So my colors for the most part on these first projects have all been in the Country Floral Lane palette. But our next project's going to shift a little bit. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to say that's where I selected my colors from. We need the leaf image here. So I'm going to ink up in Mint Macaron. Okay, we will tap it. And I'll add just a little bit of extra Mossy Meadow. Not much. And a new strip of paper here. I like that strip of paper. Uses up all those that I have on hand. Okay, so there's my leaves. Pretty. Pretty, pretty. And I need a heart. And of the extra hearts I have, they're not in the right colors. I want a petal pink heart, because I want to match this petal pink that's on the paper here, on the designer series paper. So bring your petal pink back in. This has all the wrong colors on it. So just quick clean. Just grabbing that petal pink on that little heart right there. And I'm just gonna pat it. I'm not adding any extra color. And we'll stamp it like so. So that's all we're gonna need stamp-wise for right now. Grab your punch and we'll do the leaves. Leaves, or like I say, right now they look like ears to me on a safari animal. There's my two leaves. Now my heart, I'm gonna have to flip my paper over. Good morning, Terry. Yeah, I saw you popped on. Thanks for saying good morning. People haven't been very chatty today. There's that. That's what we're gonna need stamp-wise for that. Also in your packet here, you have, I'm just gonna pull this stuff out because we're gonna use it in just a second here. Let's take one of these right there. You have a couple of those. So on that, you could put for you, I love you. My original tag has I love you. I think this time I'm gonna do for you so that way I can tag a little gift. And I'm gonna use the Mossy Meadow because it's the darkest color in my palette here. Just tapping it on there. I'm just gonna center that. Ta-da! Cute. I like when they give us little greetings like that. Okay, now I have all the pieces I need to put everything together. And I'm gonna start from the bottom up so that I space it just right. So with minis, I'm gonna add a couple minis to my label. My greeting banner die here. Flip this over and I'm gonna offset it to the side just a little bit. You can center it if you want. Next, I'll add my dimensional heart. So you can do the same thing with a regular heart punch. Doesn't have to be the Country Floral Bouquet punch. But I think it's cute. I do this with hearts and butterflies. I like to double them up and make them dimensional like that. It's almost a given that I'm gonna do something like that. And then this is gonna just kind of tuck right in there. Again, the inspiration for the tag is the entire gift box here. So that's kind of what I did. And then we'll add these. Look at, again, all that ink under my fingernails. Add a couple dimensionals here to the leaves. And I'm gonna do the leaves to the one side, kind of to counterbalance the For You label. Tuck that right in there. And then from the essentials, we have the white twine. So let's add some of that white twine. And you can do whatever you want with this. And I think what I'm gonna do this time is I'm going to do just a long strip here. Karen says, I love listening to you. You do? Rambling on and on and on. In a world all by myself. Me and the dogs. Okay. So I'm just going to do a half hitch on this one. I have a couple boxes of heart chocolates, Belgian heart-like chocolates that I bought from Trader Joe's that I'm going to give to a couple ladies nearby. And so this will be a perfect little addition. So I'm gonna go back to the pastel gems. I called them gems last time and the time before that. They are sequins. I'm just trying to untangle the sheets here. And add some gem sequins. Had it hard to break, right? So we'll just have some fun adding these. So again, I'm kind of, everything's getting that kind of, you know, when I can, I like to kind of tuck it under, give it a buddy, and then we'll give it one more up above. These are really pretty, you guys. I hope that you've seen them and that you've got your eye on them. They're fabulous. I probably my favorite pack of sequins in a long time. And it's that large small that makes it so awesome. Okay, so there you have it. Now you know how I did my fun little dimensional hearts there. Okay, our last project, we're going to completely switch color palettes here. And I'm inspired by a card that I did earlier this week, again for hand stamped sentiments. It was a sketch challenge and I thought, I really kind of like that sweet sorbet and the fresh freesia together. So our next card is going to be a sweet sorbet fresh freesia card. And I'm going to, I had a lot of people ask me how I did my pleats here. So I'm going to teach you how to make the pleats. So if you didn't read my blog post about these Country Floral Bouquet projects, when I had the assignment to stamp with it, I decided to look up, I just Googled Country Floral Bouquet. And, you know, the images that came up, a lot of ruffles, a lot of pleats, a lot of Waverly patterns, and a lot of ruffles around lampshades. So I decided, okay, I need to make some ruffles. And I've done some ruffling and some box pleating before. So I had to go way back in the time machine to figure out what I did. And so we're gonna make a pattern, and you can have a pattern for your stash that you can have and just kind of move it in there, which actually brings me to an announcement. I announced it a while back, but I did say that I would be having a mock-up. So whenever there's a 5th Thursday, I would have a mock-up class. So this would be, I would normally do this in a mock-up class, but we're gonna do it right here and now for you. But the first mock-up class will be in March because there is a 5th Thursday in March. So there's a mock-up class, and it's gonna be patterns. We're not making anything, we're strictly making patterns that you can put in your, you know, your resources. Okay, so this is the pattern for the pleats that I just showed you. So we're gonna make this pattern right now, then we're gonna cut it out of paper. So we're gonna do it twice. So you're gonna have some good practice in on this. So you need, and I had mentioned at the beginning of the video today, that you would need an extra piece of paper. This is 2 inches by 9. And it doesn't matter if it's 3 inches, 4 inches, but you just, if you're doing the pleats for a portrait layout, you want 9 inches. This is our pattern. I will tell you it's harder to pleat the cardstock than it is the DSP. So if you conquer the cardstock, you're set. So the first thing I want you to do is write 2 by 9 on one end, okay? So that's the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna write 2 inches by 9. And it's the 9 that's important. And my 9 doesn't look very good. 2 by 9. Now we're gonna do the the scoring here. You're gonna need to open up the arm of your trimmer. Let me bring this down just a little bit so you can see. And these, I'm gonna go slow, but you'll see the pattern here in just a second. The first score line we're going to do is going to be at 1 inch. So first off, get your cutting blade out of the way. So the first one, 1 inch, okay? Then you're gonna move it to 1 1/4. Then move it to 3/4, or I should say 1 3/4. Your next score is 2 inches. That is the pattern right there. So 1 inch, 1 1/4, 1 3/4, 2 inch, or I should say the next inch, okay? That's the pattern right there. Now I want you to move the end of your paper to 3 inches, okay? Then you move it to the next inch, and we're gonna start the pattern over, okay? So there's 3 inches, 3 1/4, 3 3/4, 4 inches. Okay, that was our second repetition of the pattern. Now with each one, you move it up. So now I have to move it to 5, okay? So move it to 5 inches and score 5 1/4. Anybody know what the next one's gonna be? You're right, 5 3/4. Then 6 inches. Okay, that finished a third set. Now we're gonna move it to the next inch, which is 7, and start the pattern again. So there's 7, 7 1/4, 7 3/4, 8. Where's 8? Get back here. I went too far. 8 inches. Okay, so now what you have is you have an inch on this end and an inch on this end. And then you have a whole bunch in between. So now let's do the folding for this. And the folding isn't difficult, especially if you sew. You're making box pleats here. So our first fold, that very first fold, is going to be a mountain fold. Next fold is a valley. These are a little harder to get in, especially with the cardstock. Now, because we're making a box pleat, we are going to have a valley and then a mountain. And so basically you're bringing those two together. So if you've ever made custom drapes or, yes, cheerleading uniforms, I have made many. There's your box pleat, okay? Cheerleading uniforms from the 80s had box pleats. 80s and 90s. So there's our first one. Now this is the next set. So we're going to go mountain. You're always going to start mountain and then go valley, valley, mountain. So there's my valley and mountain. So now is the time, those few of you that are on, do you have questions? Do I need to go back? Also knowing that we're going to go back and do this with designer series paper. Okay, so just kind of bring these together, give them a good score. Okay, next section, you start with the mountain, valley, valley. Okay, I know it's a little hard to see. So this last one here on this section is going to be mountain. Bring them together and make those pleats. Okay, last one, mountain. The mountain one's easy to fold. It's this valley one that's it's because it's so close to it. There's a valley and a valley, and the last one here will be a mountain. Okay, there you have it. These are the pleats that I did, and of course you would bring them in, and we'll get to that on our next step here when we make it for real, what I did next. But that's the pattern that I want you to have. I don't want you to glue it together into pleats because then you can't take it apart and measure it. Okay, so that's that part. Moving right along, in your packet, you have a piece of paper here. The back side is this cool printed side. And I'm just going to point this out. We're not going to do it. But, you know, these do exactly match the punch. So you do have, and this paper comes 12 by 12. I've cut it down to, what is this, 4? Yeah, 4 by 6. Just splitting it up amongst the group here. So this piece here is not 2 inches by 9, is it? So, bummer. What are we going to do? We're going to make it be 2 inches by 9. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to split this in half right down the middle. Okay. And I've done this before. Turn your trimmer. And we're going to put one piece right there. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on my paper here. Gonna mush that out. And I'm going to overlap by just enough that I'm matching my lines up, okay? So just paste your paper together, and I didn't do a very good job at putting mine directly in half, so I'm gonna have to fix that there, or it's gonna make a difference in how things work. Okay, so make sure you do an exact 2 inch. Can you see that little hairline? So I'm just gonna have to clean that up a little bit. So I'm gonna do that right now and hope that this works well. Beautiful. Okay, now they're matching up nicely. So now I have even more than 9 inches, so that's okay. That's okay, we'll trim it off at the end. Okay, now we're ready to do the real deal here. So we're gonna start, I'm gonna get my cutting out of the way there. Be sure that you're not bearing down as much as you did on your cardstock, okay? Go lightly score here because you don't want to cut your paper. So the first score line is 1 inch, okay? 1 1/4, 1 3/4. And then the last score for this first set of pleats, or first pleat rather, is 2 inches. That's our first set. Now we move it to 3 inches. Now we start over and we move it to 3 1/4, 3 3/4, 4 inches. Move it to 5 inches across. Oops, I'm getting caught up in where I glued it together. We have 5 inches, 5 1/4. 5 3/4, 6 inches. Next measurement is 7, 7 1/4, 7 3/4, 8. Now I'm going to move it to 9 inches. Okay, so you can see that. I've moved it to 9 inches. Sorry if you couldn't see those last few squares. And I'm going to cut it off. Okay, so you have a little extra piece there that you could use if you wanted. But that is the piece I'm going to need for my pleats. Now you're going to find that this is a lot easier to fold than your first one. However, you're folding, we're folding against stripes, so it's a little hard to see them. So our first fold is mountain, and then we have a valley. Whoa, they are really hard. I might actually do it from the back. There's the valley and valley. Now this next one is mountain. Okay, and so there you can see how much easier it is to crisp that up with DSP. So that's our first set. This one goes mountain, valley. Then the one next to it is valley. And then mountain. Where are you? It's there. It's just not very easy to see. But come on, don't let it tell you who's boss. You are the boss. Okay. Good deal. A little crazy when the stripes are the same direction. Okay, there's our mountain, valley, valley. Ooh, and that's right where the paper comes together, but that's okay. And mountain. We'll give that a good crease. And mountain, valley. So you do understand, and I'm sure you totally get it, but I'm just going to say it just in case anybody's confused, is if you had a full sheet of 12 by 12, you could just cut yourself a 2-inch by 9-inch piece of paper. But we had to kind of marry things together and make our own because we only had 2 by 6s. But that just goes to show you, you can piece it together. So there you see, there's all of our pleats. A little bit easier to maneuver than the cardstock, but you do have a pattern. Now let me show you where we're going to glue this. First off, I'm going to get the glue off of the tip of my, you know, sometimes it gets all kind of crazy, so I'm just cleaning up the tip. And I'm going to kind of pop this open, and I'm going to put glue right inside the box pleat of each one. And don't go heavy-handed. In fact, I'm a little more than what I want, partly because there's a camera in my way, in between me and the workspace. And now bring these together and just glue them shut. I have glue kind of scooching out. Don't want that. Okay, there you have it. So from the front, we have glued our pleats shut. Now we're going to flip it over, and if it's not totally sticking, not to worry. We need to train it. From the back, we're going to take our tear and tape. Look, that's cute too, you guys, so play with the technique. Take your tear and tape, and we're going to go right across the top here and make sure the pleats are in the pleated, most closed position. Straight across. There you have that. And I'm going to burnish this on nicely. And give a good look from the front. Oh, sorry, folks. I hate that when they do that. And I have a card base here that is 4 1/4 by 11. And we're going to attach this, and yes, it's wider than what you need, but we're gonna let it hang off the edge and then we'll trim. And that's because, you know, sometimes it curves upward a little bit. You know, you can kind of see it's doing that naturally. And it's just better to trim some off than to try and make it fit exactly from side to side. So what you do want to do is kind of straighten it up, and I'm eyeballing it to be even. I'm not measuring, just eyeballing that. Give that a good, really burnish that adhesive on there. I forgot to stamp. Okay, well, we're gonna stamp next. We should have stamped our background before we put our pleats on. I just was so excited for the pleats to be done. Okay, so now we take this to the trimmer, trim that off. And you can trim with a pair of scissors if you like. It's totally up to you, whatever you like best. Cut that side off. Get this side. Well, now I've got to move it way down here. Sorry. I don't know if you can see. Let me turn this. So I'm just trimming this side off. Get that right in there. Whoops, that's the scoring blade. Okay. So there you have the pleats. Nice. And then what I do, you guys, I actually do kind of put my finger in here and just kind of puff them up a little bit, just to give them, so you see a little bit of that. With the stripe, it's a little harder to see, but in real life, you do see them. But like I do, I kind of just stick my finger up in here just to give them just a little bit of dimensional, without a dimensional. Okay, our background on this is super cute. Sweet Sorbet, for sure. And we're gonna use Blushing Bride. And the first thing I'm gonna do is stamp with that double heart image. I'm creating my own background paper here. And so I'm gonna start off the edge, let it fall off the paper, and I'm gonna stamp in 3s here. So there's 1, 2, kind of coming off the edge, and let me stamp another one, 3, okay? They are in a triangle. And this is what I do when I'm working and creating a pattern. So now if I take this one, and its new triangle is gonna be right there. So there's now there's 2 triangles. Now if I go 1, 2, and a third one, but I don't want it to be exact. So I'm gonna kind of, you know, trade them around so they're not always the same. Maybe there's one down here, might not even show. And then we've got another one right up here. Okay, then there is a cute little double heart that fills it in. So that's where we're gonna use the Blushing Bride. And we'll just fill all these little hearts in. And you guys, this is so cute. Ta-da! I mean, come on. What I have found when I'm stamping a pattern, less is more. If you try to put too many on, it's just like, oh, that's a mess. So try doing less and see if you like it better. That and that. Looking good, looking good, looking cute. Super, super cute. I love it. Seriously, I do. Now, I don't have a Blushing Bride stamp and blend. So I'm using Flirty Flamingo, which is okay. It's all in the same color family in a way. But I am splattering the background here. I'm on a roll lately that I'm not super good friends with just plain cardstock and no texture, or no, it needs texture, or it needs splatters, it needs something, and I need a drink. Hold on 2 seconds. Whew, you start to get cotton mouth. Okay, there's our background. Now we're just gonna make some pretty stuff. And let me show you. So we are doing so here's our inspiration. Okay, so we've made the pleats, you learned how to do that. And so our riff on that today is this one right here. So very similar, not entirely the same, but close to it. So you kind of get the idea. So we're kind of casing that card, but in a new palette and with new paper. This designer series paper here, this is the paper that I used for the back of this one. But we're gonna use this side, being that we're closer to Valentine's Day. And you know what? I forgot to bring a die cut machine with me because I didn't think I would need one. So we're gonna do it a little bit different. But what I did do is I took the circle die and I die cut that out. And if it doesn't quite fit, you know, don't worry if it doesn't fit, because you can always find a spot to overlap with a leaf or something. But that is what I did. It just barely fits in there. But since I didn't bring my die cutting machine, I'm just gonna cut a square. So we're on the fly here. There's a circle in there. I want you to cut a circle. This time I'm gonna cut a square. So this is 2.5, so I'm gonna do a 2.5 inch square. Okay, what to do? We'll just do that. Looking good, looking good. Now we have a whole bunch of stamping to do. So go back to your white paper, and we're going to do things in Blushing Bride and in Sweet Sorbet. So we have those colors out. Let me get rid of Freesia. Sweet Sorbet. And my stamping for my greeting will be in Gorgeous Grape. But I'm also going to use some fresh freesia in here. So we're really going to kind of mix it up and have some fun with our coloring. Okay, so we need 3 hearts and a bunch of leaves. So our heart image here, let's give it a quick clean because I don't remember what it had on it. Let's do our first one. Let's start with Blushing Bride. So let's get ourselves a Blushing Bride set of hearts here. So there's Blushing Bride. We'll tap it with our light pink brush. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of Sweet Sorbet. Okay. We've been here, we've done this. We're doing it again. And we will stamp that right there. There's our first one. Ooh, that turned out so cool. I love the color in that one. All right, cleaned it up. This time I'm gonna ink up in fresh freesia first. Put that on its back. I'm gonna grab a purple blending brush just to tap this down. Those distinctive images. And I'm going to come in with my red blending brush and we'll hit that. Okay, I need to give myself enough room to punch everything. So there's that one. Oh, I love that one too. You guys, these distinctive stamps, when you mix the colors, that's just, to me, you know, makes the difference. Now this last one I'm gonna do, I'm pretty much gonna do it in straight Sweet Sorbet. So I have a peach, I have a freesia, and then we have a red, the Sweet Sorbet. So here's the Sweet Sorbet. I am going to pat it. And we'll give it a stamp over here. Beautiful. So those will be my 3 hearts. Let's go to the strip of paper. I'm running out of strips of paper here, but I think I have enough. And I'm gonna stamp some leaves. Let's look at the leaves. Let's see what we have here for the leaves. So we're going to do pretty much freesia leaves. So with the leaf stamp, here it is. Give it a clean. It's had mint and mossy meadow on it. Here goes the fresh freesia. and I'll pat it with the purple brush, and I might even just tap a little red, who knows, you know, just have some fun. It's kind of like cooking, just kind of add some stuff to the pot, right? There's that. And I'm out of strips, so I'm gonna have to move to this. So let me punch these out. That. And this. Okay, we're gonna need everything. Ooh, this one's really close. Gonna have to layer that one with something. That or just punch it off to the side a little bit. Yep, that's what we're gonna do. It was too close. Okay, there's that. Get these leaves. So let's just get rid of those for now. I have a big mess on my floor right now, you guys. I just keep sweeping it to the floor. I don't usually do that. I usually make a pile. Okay, there's 2 leaves. I know I need more. But guess what? I have some paper here, and I'm just gonna cut a strip. Just a little less than an inch is wide enough. That way I can cut and do more leaves and hearts, because we need another set of leaves, 2 sets of leaves. So let's get ourselves 2 sets of leaves. Just kind of jamming these pretty quick here. Another set. This one I think I'll tap with a little bit of red. You know, mixing it up a little bit. And I need a whole bunch of little hearts. Okay, so I have a few here, but I need 7 total. And so you could just use paper and punch hearts that way. My original here, I actually stamped them and punched them. That's cute. So I have a couple extras right here from an earlier project. So I need 5 more. So they are basically red, and I'm just gonna do these. That's blush. Here's red, sweet sorbet. 1. There's 3, 4. And you notice I'm not doing the tapping, but you know we're supposed to. Okay. So there's a bunch of those. And I need a couple more. So there's 6. Oh, I need a number 7. We'll do it right there. Ha! Use up the paper. Okay, you guys, I have like 8 open pads. 8 open ink pads. That's not good. That's just like begging to be a mess. There's 3 hearts. Little hearts is what we're needing. So let's get these right here. There's number 4. So when I say 7, it's actually more than 7, because there's some that are in the focal image, and then there's some that are edging my pleats, kind of bridging, finishing them off, giving them a little bit of a trim. Okay, there's that pile. Now I can turn this over, and this will be the last of the punching. Get these leaves here. And one more set. Okay, we have all of our bits and baubles that we need. Okay, so for now, the first thing I want to do is share with you on both of these cards, the inspiration card and then our new version in today's palette. You can see here I just did plain blue. Here I did the actual stamped and punched them out, but it just kind of, you know, this is a little extreme for me. So that's why I wanted to add the hearts and just kind of finish this off. And it takes 7 to get across. And these are these are glued on. So there's one, and just take that right to the edge. And here's the end one. And then I just reverse them, up, down, up, down, up, down, all the way across. That. Now we'll do this color here because I have a couple of them. We'll go down. Do an up. Fingers are sticky. How about yours? Hi, Pam. I just saw you popped on. We've been making pretties today. We'll do another one. Oops, this one's upside down. This one, right side up. But you can see how that just makes a nice finish edge there. Right like that. And that's how I'm going to finish off those pleats. Okay, so Pam, I was mentioning earlier, we're supposed to have a circle die right in here, but yours truly forgot to bring the die cut machine, thinking, oh, I don't have any, we're all punching today. So we're going to lay that on there. I might not even add that in there. I might look at doing this and just float it. Okay, I think I'm going to do that. Okay, we'll have to see how it looks. Okay, so everything's going to get a dimensional. Surprise! That's no different than anything we've done. So I'm going to use the large. Look, I have leaves from earlier. So throw one on the back of each of your big hearts. And then I'm going to use minis on the leaves and on the other hearts. So let's see how this looks without the square. Because the square, see, the circle comes around and it shows off my, but when I do this, it just kind of, I don't know, it doesn't have the same charm. So we have something like this. I think it's cute without the circle. What do you think? Hey, Kayleen just popped on and Debbie's on. Good to see you all. So there's that. And now let's add all of the leaves and things. We're going to need some mini dimensionals here for the leaves. And I pretty much like to put the mini dimensional to one end. Hi, Liz. I forgot you were on today. Kayleen, it's every Thursday. Every Thursday at 10. Okay, so we have a couple leaves there. And we have one down here. And another one up there. Okay, I'm just kind of roughing this in for right now. And we have our hearts. Have just kind of a pair of them. So when we've done the pair before, I've just kind of held them together and then glued them together with my dimensional. And that goes there. And we have one last, oh man, this is not going to be easy to find. One last little, there's another label in your kit. It's a tiny little, this label here. I dumped everything out. That was not smart. That's why, what a bummer. Well, I might just be making mine. You have a cute label that you can cut. I might just be doing mine and cutting it freehand. There go the dogs. Gotta go bark at something. Somebody walking by. That's what they do all day long. Okay, I've lost it. Shoot, queen. Okay, well, I'm just gonna wing it, kind of like missing my thingy here. So I'm gonna take this piece here, and what I will do is I'm gonna cut myself a tiny little banner. That's not hard to do, so we'll just do that. But I did have a small little label cut from the Stylish Shapes So I'm going to cut myself, this is 1 3/4, and then I'm going to make it be, well, we're going to do it at a 1/2 inch. No, we're going to do 3/8. Okay, there's a 3/8 little banner there. And I'll even snip the ends. And to do that, I'm going to do a little snip up right in the middle. And then from the point to the center. Wait, what are you asking, Kayleen? Something about the inside? Oh, they are mad out there right now. Can you guys hear them? Just curious. Okay, so here's my own little banner. Just goes to show you can do it. You don't have to have the dies, and that's going to go right in there. Cuteness. Okay, so we need to pick a greeting. So we can say with love or for you. I'm going to do with love, and this is going to be in Gorgeous Grape. Just so that the color would stand out enough. And it's got red, so let's get rid of that. Okay, Gorgeous Grape. Put that right in the center here. Voila. Whoops. Okay, we're almost there. We're gonna glue everything together. This kind of has a feeling of being at like the ice cream shop to me. Has those colors. So here's our original. Now on this, Kayleen, I was mentioning earlier, I forgot to bring I have the shapes out here, but I don't have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to make the circle. So I was gonna do a square, but I thought, the square's just not, it's ugly. So I nixed it. So here's our Essential Baker's Twine, the Essentials pack. And so here's the white. You'll notice that I did mine in Fresh Freesia. So like on our first card earlier, I used the Balmy Blue to make it a blue color. You could use your Freesia marker to do that. But I think I've got enough busyness going here without having that red layer that I'm going to keep this one white. So let's anchor everything down and call it a day. So here's my first heart. It's going to kind of nestle right in there. Then the second one, that tucks under just a little bit. This one's going to kind of turn and about face and kind of face the other direction. And I think I want to move these over just a skosh. Just a little bit. Or I'm not going to have any room for leaves. Okay, here's this. Covering up my pretty Stampin'. And we'll add our greeting with a couple here. And before I put that greeting on, I'm going to add my little linen thread. Baker's Essential Twine bow right there. So I'm just holding it with those dimensionals, right? Now this little twofer that I put together kind of sits right up in here. On this card, it's in a slightly different spot, but again, we're going with the composition and what's happening. So each one's a little bit different. Whoops, hey, lost my trim on my pleats here. So this one, we have that kind of right in there. Then we have a couple leaves up on this top one. One and two. Now these two are almost at the exact same angle, so I'm going to just swing this one a little bit more on a downward angle just because I don't want them to be exactly the same. And then we have a leaf tucked in here, but I kind of feel like we don't need it. So I'm not going to put it there. And I'm not going to put it there. I could put it there, but I'm not. I'm not going to put it anywhere. I'm just going to leave it off. So kind of wild and crazy. Last but not least, two things, and you know what they are. Bring her on. Here is Stella. I just love the way she brings everything to life. Like I say, it's like putting your lip gloss on. Or if you're wearing, you know, putting your earrings, your jewelry on, if you know what I mean. And a little bit of these pastel adhesive backed sequins. Look, I called them sequins this time. Okay. They carried over a bunch of dimensional covers. And for this one, we're going to put the pink ones on. And let's see, we just kind of have them sprinkled. They're tucked and they're hidden here and there. It's kind of what I like to do is just kind of tuck one there and hide it. Sorry. I think we just got a delivery on the porch. And just kind of hide them here and there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll do one more. Sorry, they're knocking on the door. You know, just kind of finding, oops, I like it right in there. And that is it. That is the finish of this one. I kind of like it without the red layer in there. It looks good, I think. So you're surprised your dog, I know. My dogs will bark and my mom's dog will hear them and she'll start barking in her house. Yeah, that's funny. She's not barking. Kayleen says they want you to know how exciting it is to get a package. Yes. I have a feeling though, it's probably car parts. That's usually what it is here. Because everything for hood rats comes here. So, yes. So Karen, there's 3 mini schnauzers here. And, you know, mini schnauzers are social. And so they bark. All right, let's see what we have made today. We have made some cuteness, and we have done a couple tags here inspired by the dimensional hearts on the little package here, so that you know how to do those now. And we did a gatefold card. Where's the other one? Here's my original. There's the one we did today. And then we also did just some cute fussy cutting and some prettiness with the designer series paper. So hopefully you have enjoyed it. Hopefully you have used up your heart papers and things. And I will catch you guys here next week. Next Thursday, we don't have a class in the morning because instead we have game night. Woohoo! Opening game night for Studio Ink Spots. Today and tomorrow are the last days to sign up for the Stamp Camp. The game night's going to be fabulous. Don't miss it. It will be a lot of fun. And then we'll have Studio Ink Spots. All of the stamp sessions are the following week. So we have a little bit of different schedule in the next few weeks. But yes, we're going to have a good time. Yes, Nicole, please sign up. I kind of had you in mind, and I've made a kit for you just in case. So have a great day, folks, and I will see you next week. Yes, Kayleen, game night is Friday night. And I can't remember if I said 6:30 or 7, but it's Ascot opening day. So get ready to have some fun. I will see you then. Have a great one, folks. Bye-bye.